than a decade, Guampedia has been the digital scholarly source for Guam history and culture. Chloe Babauta is here to tell us more about what's to come and how you can help. Hey, Chloe.
Hey, Nick.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So how are things over at Guampedia?
It's an exciting time to be with Guampedia. So I just moved over from the media over to Guampedia. And so I'm actually going to be moving off island, and I'll be still a consultant for Guampedia, because we found that more than half our users are actually off island, and we think that's the group of diaspora Chamorros, you know, thousands of Chamorros who have moved off island and set their roots in the States. So I'll be out there to make those connections in person.
Nice. And it's always that face-to-face interaction that gets you going, and you can add all those familial ties and just the history of it all to put towards Guampedia.
Definitely, and I feel like there are also so many untold stories of like why they moved out there, or maybe what new Chamorro life is like in the States. Yeah.
That's going to be so great to hear, and I'm sure a lot of people here back home can appreciate that, because they can just see what their family or their loved ones are up to now, and just stay connected in that way.
I think it's also a good way to get a lot of Chamorros to come back to Guam, just, you know, learning more about their heritage and connecting, because when I went to, I mean, you probably went through this when you were living in the States, just like the experience of not feeling like you know,
fit in.
Yeah, or just like you need to connect more with, like, figure out who you are. So people can do that through Guampedia. And speaking of which, so a new way that people can connect to their heritage and like see themselves in the context of world history is through Guampedia's new Micronesia Milestones History Timeline.
Yeah.
So
I was taking a look at that, and
yeah, we have this beautiful poster by graphic artist Key Siswiko, and I think other graphic artists work on this too.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
It's very attractive to get you thinking, what is this? What is it about? And then when I clicked on the link that you guys had included with this, just looking at the timeline is amazing. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about how you guys decided to get that going? It starts from, I believe, ancient Egyptian times, and then goes from there and compares to not just Guam and the Marianas, but all of Micronesia.
Exactly. So I actually wasn't one of the people who worked on this project. Our leaders are either busy or off island right now.
Yeah.
But so Nally Prada, our graphic designer, and Shannon Murphy, our managing editor, worked together with, they also paired up with different archaeologists and historians and other experts to figure out what kind of events to include in this timeline. So just an overview is that it's putting different events in history of Micronesia in the context of world history. So just like you said, one of the earliest, I think the earliest entry is the ancient Egyptians building the Great Sphinx, and right next to that is the ancient seafarers settled in Marianas. Yes. So it's pretty crazy thinking that people have been in the Marianas since like 3,500 years ago. So we've been here a long time.
But from the images, the pictures that you guys conclude in this timeline, it's very well put together and catered to people of all ages, where they can, you know, they want to know more, they want to learn more, and they can relate in what they learn in world history, and compare it to the Marianas. Definitely,
because I don't know about you, but even growing up here on Guam, I didn't learn that much about Pacific Islander history, let alone Chamorro history. You know, in school, I think we had like U.S. history, world history, but we didn't really have Pacific Islander or Chamorro history.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 year out of our whole schooling. But so this is a way to let us think more about how we can see ourselves in history. We're writing ourselves into world history.
From what I recall, looking at the history books when I was in high school, and I went in Hawaii, you'd imagine that there's a lot more of the Pacific culture and the history that you would want to learn there, or would be given. But then you see like just a blurb, Guam and about World War II.
Exactly.
And so just to see this timeline go further back is pretty amazing.
Yeah, because I don't think I even knew, I mean, this is kind of embarrassing, but I don't think I even knew until like a couple years ago that people had been in Micronesia and in Marianas since like thousands and thousands of years ago. So it's just, I feel like it's empowering to see ourselves in that timeline.
The next thing on the timeline I thought was very unique is that we're very religious when it comes to like the Catholic community and other religions here on the island, and so it was amazing to see that the second thing was about Moses and the Ten Commandments.
Yeah,
I think just comparing that, it compared that to when the people settled. I think it was over in Palau.
Palau, yes, yeah. Oh, you have such a good memory. You've got this timeline down really well.
That's as far as I got.
But yeah, it's really interesting to think about how long we've all been here in Micronesia, and also it was important to include not just Guam and the Marianas history, but all of Micronesia, just to unite us all as a region, because there's a lot of
friction when it comes to just
tension.
what island you're from, where you're trying to represent, but it shouldn't be like that, especially when we come from such small communities.
Exactly. We're from such a small area, so it's important that we all realize how connected we are and see ourselves in history together.
So how can our viewers and others get involved and take a look at this timeline and just
Okay, yeah, so
interact?
it's super easy to find online. Just go to Guampedia, and you can click on our educators portal, and it should just be right there for you to click on. And it's really easy to scroll through. It's accessible for anybody to look at on the internet. And for some of the different entries you can click on, for some of the different parts on the timeline, you can click on the link to the event in history, and you can go to an entry in Guampedia.
Nice.
And we'll be adding more to this timeline as time goes on, but we'd also love feedback from the community. So if anybody has any ideas for different events in history that they think we should add.
I saw that it goes all the way up to 2018.
Yeah, to the
so there's
present.
more to come.
Definitely. And then also another way that we're seeking different community feedback ideas is through a survey we have on Guampedia.
Okay.
So people can find that on Guampedia's social media. I think it's also on our website, guampedia.com, and on Guampedia's Facebook. It's just a quick survey just so people can tell us where they think Guampedia should be headed in the next coming years as we write up our strategic plan.
Wow, so you guys definitely have a lot going on over at Guampedia. It definitely evolved since its upbringing in 2009, since it first came.
Yeah, we just celebrated our 10 years this year, so it's just pretty crazy, and really excited to see where we go forward. And we'd love to get community feedback on how they think, or how everybody thinks we should, be bringing Guampedia to the future.
Is there anything else that our viewers need to know about Guampedia and just the projects that you guys have?
You can always go subscribe to our newsletter through the website. That's always a good way to keep updated. We're going to have newsletters coming out quarterly, so people can find out through that, or follow us on social media. That's also important. And yeah, just give us feedback. That'd be great.
More feedback, the better. Chloe
Yes.
Babauta, thank you so much for coming in and for speaking about this. Great job to you and the rest of the team that really worked hard to make all this possible.
Thank you, Nick.
And good luck out there on your journey.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Yes.
All right, stay tuned. Extra continues after the break.
Explore your world wherever you are. Explore your world, home's never too far. Explore your world, no matter how far, wherever you are.
Visitors make memories on our island. They contribute millions of dollars every year to our community. So what does that mean? Tourism keeps our island's culture alive.
And it strengthens our identity as Chamorros.